Good morning and welcome to News Superfast. I'm Nolan Pinto. First up, Malaysia Airlines flight made an emergency landing, returning safely to Kuala Lumpur International Airport after a problem with the plane's landing gear. Now, as the plane, a Boeing 737-800 with 166 people on board, took off from the airport en route to Bangalore, a tire on the main landing gear blew out. Now, debris from the tire was found in the runway, and air traffic controllers in Kuala Lumpur ordered the captain to turn back. Now, in March, Malaysia Airlines Flight 370, Boeing 777-200 with 239 people on board disappeared as it flew from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. Well, in fact, a Malaysia Airlines flight made an emergency landing, returning safely to Kuala Lumpur International Airport after a problem with the plane's landing gear. As the plane, a Boeing 737-800 with 166 people on board, took off from the airport en route to Bangalore, the tire on the main landing gear blew out. Debris from the tire was found on the runway, and air traffic controllers in Kuala Lumpur ordered the captain to turn back. In March, Malaysia Airlines Flight 370, a Boeing 777-200 with 239 people on board disappeared as it flew from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. Well, for more on this, I'm joined by my colleague Varghese. Varghese, can you give us more information on this?
Well, what at present we know is that there was a heightened alert immediately issued once they came to know that there was a problem with the landing gear. The pilots were in fact trying to do a secondary check. That is when they realized that the landing gear was having some problems. But what exactly the problem was, they didn't figure out. But then the air traffic in Kuala Lumpur noticed that there was actually a lot of debris on the runway, and that is when they realized that there was in fact a lot of pieces of the plane that had just taken off, and they realized it was actually the tire pieces of tire that was there. So they suspected immediately that since they were able to correlate with the problem with the landing gear that was immediately related to the air traffic control, they realized that it was actually a problem with burst tires. So immediately, without taking any chances, they asked and ordered the pilots to immediately return to the safety of the Kuala Lumpur International Airport. And the plane was actually carrying around 166 people, and what we also know is that they've all been taken care of. They've been given separate accommodations as such. Another interesting part of it is that these people were actually heading towards Bengaluru, Nolan, and immediately because of the recent MS-370 incident, the Malaysian authorities are in fact under high surveillance, and because of it, they were immediately able to notice and prevented an accident from taking place, Nolan.
Do we know how this happened? What led to the tire burst?
Well, Nolan, there could be several factors that could lead to a tire burst as such, but at present they are still examining the reason as to why. There could be overload of pressure, or even pressure in the tire, or in fact even because of the extensive heat as the plane takes off, and the speed or the weight of the aircraft on the tire. So there are several technical reasons that can be given for it, but they are investigating the matters. But because of the conscious effort of the pilots as well as the air traffic control in Kuala Lumpur, they were able to avoid a disaster from taking place now.
Now, Varghese, like they say, when things go wrong, things continue to go wrong, and it looks like Malaysia Airlines is facing this problem.
Well, this is since it's coming very close to the fact that it is very close to the incident of the 370. That is why people might be a little worried about the way this incident has also taken place. But on the whole, Nolan, if you look at it, there has been kind of alert with regards to this. There has been a huge alert with regards to this, and it looks like everyone is alert and vigilant with regards to the problem as such, because once the MS-370 had gone, the airlines as well as the government had come under scrutiny, not only from the domestic travelers but also by international agencies over the lack of proper facilities and in fact, the chain of command within the structure that the Malaysian Airlines operated on. But at present, because of this incident, there has been heightened alert, and there are also government officials monitoring every move. So it looks like they've been able to avoid something. But yes, it's a technical problem that has happened, and that since it's coming very close with media frenzy over MS-370, this also will, in fact, be scrutinized tightly, Nolan.
Right, Varghese, thank you very much for all that information. In fact, a Malaysia Airlines passenger plane with 166 people on board landed safely at Kuala Lumpur Airport early on Monday after being forced to abandon a flight to Bangalore because of problems with its landing gear. This is what a statement from the airline had stated. Now, Defence Minister and Acting Transport Minister Hishamuddin Hussain said in a tweet, all landed safely, going there now. Malaysia Airlines had said earlier that the Boeing 737-800 carrying 159 passengers and 7 crew had suffered a malfunction on its right-hand landing gear upon takeoff and would be forced to attempt an emergency landing. In fact, a website which displays live air traffic showed flight MH192 repeatedly circling Kuala Lumpur Airport before the eventual landing. Fire rescue services had been placed on standby. Now, this is according to the airline. Last month, a Malaysia Airlines flight disappeared on a flight from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing in unexplained circumstances, with 239 people on board, and the search for its presumed wreckage is still continuing in the Indian Ocean. Moving on, 2 people were killed in a cylinder blast in Bijapur. The incident occurred at the Rambapura area. The deceased have been identified as 50-year-old Ganga Shetty and 2-year-old Anita. In fact, the blast ripped through the house, making it collapse on itself. The police are inspecting the spot and are investigating the matter. In fact, 2 people were killed in a cylinder blast that took place in Bijapur. The incident occurred at Rambapura. The deceased have been identified as 50-year-old Ganga Shetty and 10-year-old Anita. The blast ripped through the house, making it collapse on itself. The police are inspecting the spot and are also investigating the matter. In fact, 2 people were killed in a cylinder blast that took place in Bijapur. The incident occurred at Rambapura. The deceased have been identified as 50-year-old Ganga Shetty and 10-year-old Anita. Now, the blast ripped through the house, making it collapse on itself. The police are inspecting the spot and are also investigating the matter.